This is yet another whistleblower who fingers Biden as the head of a corrupt political family, taking money under the table from foreign nationals. The full transcript of Biden's former business partner, Devon Archer's, just been released, and it confirms everything that Joe Biden and the media have been lying to you about.
His keen gaze pierces the horizon, predicting stormy waters that could define the course of Biden's tenure.
The full transcript of Biden's former business partner, Devon Archer's, just been released, and it confirms everything that Joe Biden and the media have been lying to you about. Archer testified not only did Joe Biden know about his son's foreign business, but Vice President Joe Biden sat at elegant dinners that lasted hours with his son's foreign clients. Devon Archer, the man who Hunter Biden once called a Biden, just flipped on the first family. And it's bad. Archer, who's been in board meetings, Chinese dinners, to the Biden family beach house, is saying that Joe Biden was on the phone with Hunter and his foreign business partners at least 20 times.
As the public listens, Waters' voice sparks fervent debates, prompting discussions about the potential obstacles Biden may face.
Highly credible whistleblower is alleging that the Department of Justice has evidence that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, was directly involved in a scheme with a foreign national. We're being told that Justice has had in their possession a document, and he knew exactly who they were. According to Archer, Joe would enter the room and shake everybody's hand. They weren't going to him, Joe Biden was coming to them. One of these dinners, Archer says, was a birthday dinner at Cafe Milano in Georgetown in the spring of 2014. Now, we checked, neither Joe, Hunter, or Archer have birthdays in the spring. So why was the vice president attending one of his son's dirty foreign clients' birthday dinners? Archer says it was to sell the Biden brand, and Hunter described the Biden brand as gold. Here's how it worked. President Barack Obama would assign Joe Biden a country to handle. And when Biden was assigned to a country, a dirty company with a lot of problems in that country would hire Hunter Biden.
Within his fervent dialogue takes root a mosaic of apprehension, inviting viewers to ponder the uncertainties looming on Biden's path.
Showing Biden directly exchanged money for policy decisions when he was vice president. Again, a foreign national bribed Vice President Biden in exchange for policy decisions. This isn't just cracked out Hunter. This is a direct link to the President of the United States. Well, according to Archer, the guest list for the birthday dinner included Russian billionaires, friends of Putin, a Burisma executive, and a Kazakhstani businessman. One of them was a billionaire. And here's a picture of Joe Biden from the birthday dinner. The guy on the right of the picture is a former Kazakhstani intel chief who was charged with treason and sent to prison for 18 years. I wonder what Biden talked to him about. Probably just the weather. And when dinner wrapped up, the money came rolling in. Archer says after the birthday dinner, one of the Kazakhstanis wired Hunter $142,000. It was wired through a bank that was later shut down for helping North Korea buy ballistic missiles. On the wiring instructions from the dirty bank, the reason for the wire, the Kazakhstani wrote this: for car. Hunter took the $142,000 and wired it to a car dealership in Jersey, where he bought a brand new Porsche Panamera. See how this works? Hunter brings daddy to the dinner with clients and drives off in a Porsche. It's a birthday dinner, but Hunter gets the gift. And what father sees his son driving around in a brand new Porsche and doesn't ask, how'd you pay for it? But a bigger gift came later. A Russian billionaire, who was also at the birthday dinner with Joe, wired Hunter's company $3.5 million afterwards. And President Biden just happened to have left her off the sanctions list for the war. Guess who also had dinner with Joe Biden? An executive from Burisma. You know, the energy company that paid Hunter millions of bucks. A company under investigation for corruption. A company Joe Biden said he had nothing to do with.
The spotlight narrows on Waters, a sentinel of political dynamics, unafraid to raise cautionary flags.
Because they needed something from Joe Biden. Hunter would have dinner with some crooked foreign kleptocrat, and in the middle of dinner, he'd say, hey, let's call my pop. He'd get his dad on the phone, put it on speaker. and Joe Biden would say hello to Hunter's business partners. And that was what the business partners were paying for, that phone call. They were paying Hunter because he could get Joe Biden on the phone like that. And everywhere Joe went, Hunter got paid. And Joe delivered. Devin Archer told House investigators today that the corrupt gas company Burisma only hired Hunter so his father Joe could get the prosecutor investigating them fired. Devin Archer testified Hunter was with the crooked CEO when he called D.C. to demand Joe Biden fire the prosecutor. 3 days later, Joe Biden flew to Ukraine and got the prosecutor fired and then bragged about it. This is what Democrats impeached Trump for probing. Devin Archer also testified that Hunter pulled the same move with other fat cat foreign execs. Archer says Hunter put Joe Biden on the phone with his Chinese partner, Jonathan Lee. And remember, Joe Biden flew Hunter to China on Air Force Two, where Hunter met Jonathan Lee. Hunter introduced Joe and Jonathan Lee in Beijing. They shook hands. It was a $20 million handshake. The Bidens made $20 million from that Chinese deal. After Hunter was given an equity stake in the Chinese investment firm, the Obama-Biden administration greased approvals for Jonathan Lee to take over American car manufacturers. Joe Biden, who claims he didn't talk to his son about his business, even wrote a letter of recommendation to Brown University on behalf of Jonathan Lee's daughter. This is Grassley's wheelhouse. He doesn't mess around when it comes to whistleblowers. Grassley's the real deal on this stuff. And that's bad news for Biden. This could be hard evidence that Joe was doing political favors for cash. And the FBI and the Justice Department knew it, and they sat on it, just like they did with the laptop for over a full year in the run-up to the last election. And since this is another election cycle for Biden, I guess it was all part of the plan, another cover-up. But now, Oversight Chair James Comer is issuing a subpoena to the FBI and Chris Wray, ordering them to release this document immediately. And Grassley is telling the White House they better not cover it up by classifying it.
His words evolve into a somber warning, casting shadows over the political landscape and prompting a sober assessment.
When Burisma was getting investigated by this prosecutor, Archer says they asked Hunter, "Can DC help?" And Archer says Hunter called his dad, even though he knew it would set off some serious alarm bells for influence peddling. Archer went on to say Burisma would have gone out of business if it hadn't have the brand attached to it. And then he said the brand is Joe Biden. Archer says the Biden brand made people feel intimidated to mess with them legally. So a corrupt company was paying Hunter Biden millions of dollars so his father, the VP, could provide legal protection. That's what Trump got impeached for asking about. That right there. And now we know from the eyewitness insider testimony it's all true. And after reading the transcript, this whole excuse from Democrats like Goldman saying Joe was discussing the weather with clients was actually a joke. Archer said, well, not necessarily the weather, you know. It's quite obvious what we're talking about. So even the Democrats' lame cover stories are falling apart. Democrats also said Archer testified that Hunter wasn't selling access to Joe. He was selling the illusion of access to Joe. Jonathan Lee is a Communist Party power broker who our vice president went to bat for, helping his daughter cut the line in the admissions offices at Ivy League schools. Why? Because his family was getting paid. Devin Archer also testified that Vice President Joe Biden personally met with a Russian billionaire, Elena Batrina, back in 2014 while VP at Cafe Milano in Georgetown. Joe Biden had dinner with her. And a month later, the Russian billionaire wired Hunter Biden $3.5 million. Now, Democrats say Joe Biden had no idea who he was talking to.
In this crucial juncture, Jesse Watters stands as a harbinger of a challenging trajectory, compelling society to contemplate the intricate challenges that could shape President Biden's fate.
But we know the White House is already jumping into defense. Biden's Stephen Miller put out this statement. You ready? Quote, For going on 5 years now, Republicans in Congress have been lobbying unfounded, unproven, politically motivated attacks against the president and his family without offering evidence for their claims or evidence of decisions influenced by anything other than U.S. interests. That's because they prefer floating anonymous innuendo amplified by the megaphone of their allies in the right-wing media to get the attention and try to distract and deflect from their own unpopular ideas and lack of solutions to the issues the American people actually care about. Whatever. This is yet another whistleblower who fingers Biden as the head of a corrupt political family, taking money under the table from foreign nationals. So this Biden scandal is playing out like the Russia hoax. Remember, the Democrats, the media, the fact checkers all tell you the same story, and then you see the evidence and find out it's a lie. This is a big psyop they're running on us all over again. An innocent man is being locked up so a corrupt politician can remain in power. Because Archer's testimony makes Joe Biden a co-conspirator in his son's bribery scheme. Joe Biden was having dinners, on phone calls, firing prosecutors, and doing favors. That makes him an accessory to an illegal foreign lobbying racket. Joe knows this. He knows it's dicey. He hinted at it in a letter he wrote to Archer about 12 years ago. Joe Biden thanked Archer for being in business with his son. Quote, "Happy you guys are together." What was the real reason Biden was so happy? Well, because it was at this very moment when Hunter and Archer made a leap from lobbying into private equity. Hunter, the lobbying was risky. It exposed Joe. But in private equity, you don't get paid direct fees for services. Instead, clients become your investors. Meaning Hunter's clients were investors in the Biden Access Program. The Chinese, Romanians, Kazakhstanis invest in a fund that Hunter takes withdrawals from. The whole Biden family treated the fund like a piggy bank. Ka-ching. This is why Biden's Department of Justice is trying to give Hunter immunity. It's basically like a full pardon and covers everything. But it's all coming out. We're barreling towards impeachment, and Joe Biden won't survive the scrutiny. He can't. The American people despise corruption, and Joe Biden does not have the political capital to power through it. Democrats went from the laptops, Russian misinformation to Biden was having dinner with Hunter's business partners, but all they talked about was the weather. Now, when I eat dinner, it's usually at least an hour. I'm there for 3 courses. You can talk weather for maybe 5 minutes tops. But Biden's talking to a Russian billionaire about the weather the whole dinner? What's it like in Moscow? It's cold. Biden's had meetings at Cafe Milano with the Russians, the Mexicans, Kazakhstanis, even the Greeks. All Hunter's business partners. You're saying Joe Biden talked about the weather the whole time and had no idea who he was having dinner with? Even if Hunter puts his business partners on speakerphone with his dad and they don't talk business at all, you're saying the next day when Hunter talks to Joe, and they say they talk every day, Joe doesn't say, "Hey, Hunter, what are you doing in Dubai and who are those you put me on the phone with last night?" Come on. The Biden family was selling access to Joe. The phone call, even if it was weather-related, was the access. And Biden always delivered on the back end. The Chinese and the Ukraine got what they wanted out of Biden. Even the Russian lady who bribed Hunter $3.5 million, Joe Biden left her off the sanctions list. The one Russian billionaire not on the sanctions list happens to be the same one who paid the Biden family millions of bucks. But the Democrats say, what was Joe Biden supposed to be, rude and not say hello to Hunter's corrupt foreign business partners? It's so bad Barack Obama's doing a little CYA. According to the Washington Post, Barack had a private lunch with Joe, telling him, "It's not looking good for you, pal." He warned him that Trump's going to be tough to beat. Obviously, Obama leaked this detail of the lunch to make it look like, I told you so. There's blood in the water, and Gavin Newsom knows it. Behind the scenes, he's building a giant war chest. His team's ramping up a national fundraising effort. His super PAC already has about $6 million in the bank. So what's that mean? It means Joe Biden's wounded. It means Democrats smell it. The Trump indictment looks desperate, and the bribe bombshells continue to drop. The old man now has a choice. One more run and risk the filthy last decade being exposed, his legacy disgraced, his and his family's earning power decimated, or announce he's no longer seeking re-election and passing the torch to a younger generation. So the new defense is Biden's missed manners. snubbing his son's sniveling and conniving foreign business partners would be the wrong thing to do. Now, we know that Hunter Biden brought his sleazy business partners to the Obama White House over 100 times. So Joe Biden never asked Hunter, who are all these people?